you up, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Busted Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
What is happening, Nation's Corner fam? I'm your host, Tony Justice, and welcome to Nation's Corner. And with me tonight are our co-hosts, fellow crew members. First, the one, the only, the guy in South Jersey who you better not F with, John in South Jersey. How's it going, brother?
Hey, I'm a big fan of saying F-A-F-O. Well, what's up?
And if
you don't know, it's Hijacker.
Yes.
Wow.
We have an HJN sighting tonight.
We do.
Yeah. Appearing out of the deep, dark corners of California.
Yeah, speaking about you don't want to F with. Jesus. How you doing, Hijacker?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. It's good to be back on the show after a while and come hang out with you guys and see what's going on, man. How's everybody else?
Doing great, man. And last but not least, we have our resident guy from Mongrovian. Mongrovian Mike. Is he messing with his cufflinks over there? Mongrovian Mike. How's it going, brother?
Can't you see I'm taping my wrist?
Oh, that's what you're doing? All right.
What's the matter with you?
Why?
I'm just calling back to like my favorite heel right now going is Kevin Owens.
Okay. It's just something else for his camera to focus in on.
Yeah. Keeping that production crew
when the callers came up to him to have him sign a contract, he said, "Can't you see I'm taping my wrists?" He's got something.
Welcome, everybody. Yes, he does, man. He's doing so good as a heel. Doing so good.
Before we get into
what's
this,
up?
Just a couple quick shout outs. Of course, Hijacker, thankfully, is here joining us. The fires are still going in California. People are still being highly affected every single day. It is great to see Mike. We heard from fellow crew member Trenda, who was eventually able to get back to her home in Southern California. So shout out to you both. And everyone, firefighters, people living out there. We're still thinking of you. You're still in our thoughts and prayers. And keep your chins up, and hopefully they get it all under control soon, and you can start getting back to normal. Also, hey, that's my kid. Shout out, Nation's Corner on location. Myself last night, and the lovely talented Debhausen, who is on my screen right now, is live and in person at the PPW show in Slatington, Pennsylvania, right around the corner from her house. Nation's Corner on location, getting a big dose of representation this weekend, and we're all here for it as always. So always get out, support indie wrestling, see the stars of tomorrow today at your local indie, and I think that's about it.
Yeah. Last night you saw a friend of the show, Lady Frost.
Sure did. She defended her Wrestle Pro Women's Championship against a very stout competitor and also friend of the Especially Nation's Corner on location, won the first class badass, Rebecca J. Scott. And as I predicted seeing it on the card, it was an absolute banger with a very interesting plot twist at the end that I won't go into. But absolutely fantastic match. Lady Frost retains, and rightfully so. She has a weekend off from her AEW duties other than this one indie, and she's going home and going to bed with the proper pooches.
Cool.
Deservedly so. But great night of wrestling last night. We got two great things going on tomorrow night. But right now you have us talking about everything else that's happening in wrestling.
Yes, sir. We'll get what's happening tomorrow, but start the show off and about big news that happened this week. It's something we've been seeing for a few months now on NXT television and on TNA television, but now it will be official. I'm just going to read you what WWE posted on Twitter earlier this week. WWE and TNA Wrestling today announced a multi-year partnership aimed at creating unprecedented opportunities within WWE and TNA programming for NXT superstars and TNA wrestling stars. So I think, and plus, I was on Twitter yesterday, and it was really cool. It was really cool to see NXT promoting TNA Genesis on their social media platform. That was cool to see. I feel like with TNA coming on tomorrow, I feel like we may see some of that talent from NXT appear. But real quick, Hijacker, we haven't heard from you in a while, brother. Give us your thoughts on this partnership.
I think this partnership with TNA and WWE is a good thing. They said the NXT talent, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the partnership is TNA and NXT.
Okay. I like the merger. I like this partnership. It gives both sides more angles, more matches, more challenges, more opponents. It's going to open the eyes. And plus, the main thing, it's going to open the eyes to the strong WWE only fan base to see what else is out there. You know, I know TNA is hard to catch. You know, not everybody has access. Not everybody pays for TNA Plus to see the product. But I hope this opens up eyes so they can see what TNA has to offer, because they have a great lineup out there. And BTW out here, you know, Kirk White's Big Time Wrestling I work with, we have done several shows with TNA when they were more Impact 5-6 years ago before the pandemic hit. And seeing the talent live there is awesome. It's a great show. It's a great product. And I hope it succeeds with this merger with WWE.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. John, what about your thoughts, bro?
I'm the same with Mike and pretty much everyone else. I think it's fantastic. And two things that concern me, and they talked about it briefly, or I should say extensively, on Busted Open, and that's goes along the lines of the talent exchange. Now, we've seen the effects of the handshake agreement previous. Now it's for real. But even on the handshake agreement, you had Joe Hendry showing up on NXT programming. You had then Knockouts champion Jordan Grace showing up on NXT programming. What you saw from NXT showing up on TNA, not quite the same caliber. I'm hoping that it's going to be an even exchange, even if it's lesser names on both sides. You know, keep it even. Don't, because it looks to me previously, and how this partnership is going to go going forward is going to be very telling. But if TNA is putting all their top people on NXT, it should be the same for TNA. If we're going with the partnership is going to raise both brands, new stars from TNA coming in, established people from NXT showing up on TNA as well to elevate the products. That's the way it should be. Also, and Tommy and Bully specifically argued this point. Who has creative control? Is TNA going to be able to do business and operate how they continue, especially when it comes to NXT talent and vice versa? And that's going to be something that is over all our heads, but that's going to have to be worked out. And Ezra, thank you for being in the chat tonight and joining us. You brought up a very good point. Seeing TNA quote unquote product being promoted on WWE social media, That's huge. That's not, nobody really gets that outside of the WWE. But here's TNA having that exposure on all of WWE's social media platforms, especially any of the NXT ones. That's huge. Absolutely huge.
The Rock's already
Yeah.
showed up at a Impact or before, so he sent in a videotape. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. But hey, he went on NXT too. He wanted to see his daughter. He's proud of her.
that's right. That's right.
Giving her.
How do you give your daughter the rub without saying, "Hey, this is my daughter"? Everybody, even though everybody knows. And speaking about how everybody knows,
Everybody knows.
Can we stop the whole like does the WWE universe know this person or not? Or I think we've seen in the past 6 months that the WWE universe isn't as stupid as one VKM used to treat them. They're not. There may be a couple that don't know how to fucking Google search something or whatever, but that's very few. That's very few schmucks out there.
Well,
Most people know. The fans are smart. The WWE fan, the universe, they're just as smart. You've heard the pops that they gave for Joe Hendry. You've heard the pops that they gave for Julia and Stephanie Vicaire. You hear the pops that they know these people, and they also popped for one Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace as well too before that. So let's put that aside and just say that wrestling fans know their shit, and when they see stuff like this, for the most part, I believe we're all very happy because we want to see all these people succeed. I see this as not a merger. It's more like a breeding ground for get a positive vibe going for people you want to bring up, because sooner or later Jordan Grace has done everything that there is to do in TNA. It's time to move up, and where is she going to go? Well, where do you think? So why not build these positive relationships and ventures, because I think it's doing them very good, and they're selling out shows, and they're doing things, like they're putting the proverbial asses in seats. So you got that.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, WrestleMania shouldn't just be WWE. It should be all these companies merging together for one big universal show.
Right. And
in a way it does, right? In a way it does.
I mean, between
everyone, what is it they say? JFK said, "All rising tide lifts all boats."
Yeah.
And when WWE goes to town, hey, you know what? The GCW collective that goes on that whole week, and all the other shows surrounding it, do some pretty good business, right?
That, especially for Mania, and most of us here saw that firsthand, especially when they were in Philadelphia last year.
Yeah.
The collective sold out every show that they had.
Yeah.
Like 8 shows. I mean, that's partially because Neil bought tickets for like 5 of them. But regardless, that and good for him. But things like that, and just in the number of other indie shows, and everybody just trying to get in on it.
Neil's the speedball Mike Bailey of the fans.
Yes,
he
absolutely.
has to make an appearance at every.
If
show
there was an MVP
week.
for the collective, is Craft Beer Neil, ladies and gentlemen. My man is MVP. He was at every show, 11 in the morning, hungover like everybody else.
If God forbid, if Julie is at 2 different shows, forget it. He's gonna have to be like what's his name, the time splitter. He's gonna have to try and split time.
But I had another thought on the partnership. Well, I'm very curious to see. We know we are in Royal Rumble season. Who do we see? this time?
Good question. I as far as surprises go, I think we might see some more TNA talent in the Rumble. But as far as like major surprises, I can't think of any.
Well, let's stick with the topic. Who from TNA? Because I have two names right off the bat.
Okay.
But I'll get everybody else's input first.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let me ponder on it a little bit.
All right. Hijacker.
I think Hendry would be in there, but I would love to see Moose in there, but I don't know if we're going to see him right away.
That's why you are my West Coast brother, because we're thinking the same thing.
Yes.
Mike?
Yeah, I was thinking for the men, Hendry, and for the women, you're going to see Masha.
Okay. All right. There you got both my picks. So.
Well, why else would they show Masha sitting in the audience? So
yeah.
close to the Rumble.
True.
Someone's going to piss her off, and it's very easy to piss that woman off. And I feel sorry for the NXT women's division. They were the best thing going in the women's division, but now Masha's going to get a piece of them and hurt them very badly.
Yeah, well, as long as you start cursing at them in Russian.
I like Masha for the women, and for the men, I'm just gonna step on out and say Nick Nemeth.
I thought of that as well, Tony. And while I didn't think of Nick per se, how about this? AJ Francis. Making a quote unquote return.
Right.
To a WWE thing after, especially what he went through with Hit Row and his, messed up flop and all that. I think that would be cool. I think that would be like, oh shit moment.
Listen to RA.
Yes. Smash that like button if you haven't already, please. And we support everyone. We're glad everybody's in the live chat with us tonight. Speaking of live chat, let's go ahead and call them out. Ezra, I saw Ezra in there. Brooke, Mad Max was in there earlier. Mad Max, Mad Mac,
Mac.
Mad Max. Brother, I saw that picture of you on Facebook the other day. You look like you stepped right out of a damn movie set.
John Bay, Neil.
John Bay, yeah. The regulars, man. We appreciate y'all. So anyway, those are some great picks for the Rumble. We're gonna have our Rumble show coming up pretty quick. And we'll delve into a bunch of different surprises.
Speaking of those in the chat, I want to hear from the crowd with us. Anybody thinking that any surprise names out of TNA that are going to show up or be part of the Rumble and or be part of WWE? I mean, we've been talking to death that it's probably a foregone conclusion at this point that Jordan and Joe Hendry are going to be part of the WWE.
I think you're gonna get maybe one from the women's side and one from the men's side, because you don't want to take away too much of that you're taking away spots from people in the WWE. So I think one each, because you're gonna get probably one each from the NXT, and then you'll build something up from there. You'll definitely have to have at least one. You know what I mean? So there's got to be something building up. But yeah, there's a possibility. It could be a couple of stories coming out of Royal Rumble going into the the NXT TNA era. It'd be pretty cool. But even just from the regular side, we know we only have a few people, so.
Mhm.
By the time we do
Right.
our Rumble preview, hopefully things will be shaken out a little more, and we'll have a little bit more of an idea and
Yeah.
inkling what's going on. But
Yeah.
And just one last point, especially we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but since they've announced this partnership and it's like I said, it's for real now. Do we see the influences early as Genesis tomorrow night?
I think so.
Yeah, it's
I think so
possible.
too. I think we're going to see something out of them.
Yeah.
Kind of strike while the iron's hot, and really get a buzz going coming out of Genesis or tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
you might
Right.
you might as well. You got the partnership in place. Everything's been announced. You might as well get it started tomorrow at the pay-per-view to generate interest.
Yeah, and isn't Monday Night Raw near or in Texas this week or this
I think
coming week?
it's in San Antonio Monday.
So, okay,
Because JBL's going to be there on Raw Monday. It's
Yeah,
either
they
in Dallas
announced
or
it.
San Antonio.
but it's saying that it's not a big deal for them to come in a day early, so to speak, to
Right.
be on Genesis and be a part of Genesis and then be in there for Monday Night Raw. So,
Okay, Ezra says it's in Dallas. So, okay, yeah.
oh, he would know.
Yeah.
when did he get
Yeah.
here?
I ask that all the time, and I never get a good answer.
Yeah. I'm excited to see JBL on Raw Monday night.
Yeah,
It's always great to see JBL. JBL has been appearing in all sorts
Everywhere.
of everywhere.
He's the
GCW,
gatekeeper, man.
TNA.
GCW, various other independents all over, man. I'm not quite sure where they're going or if it's just him just messing around to have fun and all that, but man, it's working. And I'm watching things now, especially like TNA and GCW, to see if he does show up.
He
Right.
is a ubiquitous free agent right now, and
Mhm.
God bless him, man. Yeah, he puts on that. Yeah, he put on that long trench coat. That's it.
We could
Couple
get JBL
clothesline
on the
from
Raw.
hell. Yeah, clothesline
I mean-
from hell.
Yep.
Go home.
So speaking of GCW, let's get into it, John.
Oh, wait. Thanks, Seb.
Yeah, look at us all high tech.
Look
Look
at
at that.
Look at that. Way to go, production staff. No, we don't have a production staff. But GCW's biggest event, their quote-unquote WrestleMania, takes place tomorrow night at the world-famous Hammerstein, as the Ocho or the Nueve says, Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City. The People versus GCW. And wow, they have gone all out for this. It's their biggest show, period, and all the hype and everything behind it. But I love GCW because it's not what you see regularly on TV. And they're like, oh, well, they'll never make TV. They'll never make TV because they just don't. Shut the fuck up. Go fuck yourselves. It's awesome.
Yep.
But they actually do have quote unquote weekly television. They run a pay-per-view on Trailer Plus just about every weekend. So you have stories that have been developing for a year that have been played out at their various pay-per-views, and they go everywhere. They're not just a regional. They are, in fact, after this, they're going to Europe for 3 or 4 dates as well. But the biggest story, and we heard them both on Busted Open earlier today with Denise and Mark, is Effie versus Alley Catch, which is
the former tag team champs and
former tag
good best friends.
They're bussy, yeah. And here they are at each other's throats. And Alley Catch's heel turn has absolutely just captivated the GCW faithful. Like, what is this pick doing? But regardless, and not that they needed a stipulation, because this has turned literally into a blood feud between these two. The winner of that match takes on current GCW champion, old Manser, good brother number 3, Mance Warner. So they're going to kill each other in that match, and then they get, to step into the ring with Mance Warner.
Yeah, and it's not like they haven't all been killing each other for the past few weeks leading up to this.
Yes. And again, if you see here on the card, you have just an absolute. It's going to be an amazing show. But 2 things absolutely
that DLC
point out to
looks
me.
like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, take a picture of it, Tony, and enlarge it so you can read it. You
That's
blind
what
mother effer.
I'm zooming in on my. I'm zooming in on my camera.
Just do that too, like I do,
so I can see it. I'm zooming in so I can see. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason why, and Brett Lauderdale, owner and promoter of GCW, is smart in how he laid this out. Obviously, you have Mance and Effie and Alley Cass at the top of the poster. But if you scroll down a little bit, there is one match of better interest, and that is Mr. Always Ready, the complete Matt Cardone, has just issued an open challenge, meaning anyone in wrestling he will have a match with on that show. And one of my favorite components of GCW, of course, is Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. And there is a Bloodsport match on this card. And if you are not familiar with it and familiar with Bloodsport, well, you're wrong, and you need to correct that. But this is more of a absolutely grapple. There are no rings. They take the ropes down from the ring. It's just a match.
Just for a second, John, Bloodsport, every Bloodsport pay-per-view is like, you could just literally just be doing a holy shit chant through the whole show.
Yeah. And this
is pretty much that. There's pretty much that. At least 5 of the matches in the whole show, including whoever Josh Barnett decides to face, is going to be a banger. There's going to be a lot of holy shit moments, and just the whole idea of it with no ring posts and no turn, no ropes.
There are no tope suicitas. There is no 550 frog splashes off the top rope in Bloodsport. It is absolutely grapple and catch style ground wrestling at its very finest.
And they could be flying off of the ring.
Oh yeah, it could be. You could be Mike Bailey and literally fighting out of the ring onto the floor. But there is a Bloodsport match. It does feature the leader of Bloodsport, Josh Barnett, against Tom Pishock. Who? Oh, you mean Baron Corbin?
Oh, turn the channel. Oh,
and a little for those who are not aware, regardless of what you thought of Baron Corbin in WWE, Tom Pishock is a legit fighter. He was a former Golden Glove champion.
Yeah.
He is also on an off weekend. Talk about fuck around to find out. Off weekend, he decided to go to a local Masters Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. First time he's competed in one in many years by his own admission. Oh, and by the way, he won it in his division. He is a highly skilled jiu-jitsu practitioner and mixed martial artist as well. So this is going to be really, really fucking fun to watch. Absolutely. And one thing I do love, one of the many things I do love about GCW is they don't shy away from their roots. Their roots is of a very hardcore and deathmatch style wrestling. They were, that's what they were born from, and that's why Nick Gage is part of who he is because of that, and especially in GCW. But they have basically a scramble match. They're unifying the ultraviolet and hardcore championships, which are the most brutal championships in wrestling. Outside of regular deathmatch wrestling in FMW or anything in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't shy away from it. MLJ, their ring announcer, he does a very good job, and he goes, this match is scheduled for one fall, and everybody goes one fall and all that, and he announces the people.
Yeah.
And when he does it for like a match like this or any other matches, GCW advertises. He'll come out and say, our next contest, and they'll pause, it's a fucking death match. And everybody goes crazy and all that. But the names they have in it, you have legit legends. Matt Fremont, Drew Parker. The other name slips me, but these guys are going to absolutely kill each other and themselves and various plunder, if you will, all to climb the ladder and get those belts. You have the tag team title. Every title for GCW is being defended tomorrow night. And if you don't know the names, you should really get familiar with them, because from here, they are only going to get bigger and move on to other things, other places. But it reminds me so much of ECW and their production and their wrestling styles and all that, and how they welcome everyone and anyone in. If you're good and you think you can stack up, then get in the ring and let's find out. But I highly recommend getting on Triple Plus tomorrow night and watching the People versus GCW. Or like me, you could be doing split screen, because unfortunately it is on the same time as Genesis. But even if you don't watch it live, make a point to catch a replay or watch it, because it's going to be one hell of a night at the Hammerstein. If you like the crowd and the reactions from AEW at the Hammerstein, watch GCW and watch that same amount of people, that same vibe of the crowd, but amped up 10 times, because that's how they get. Everybody understands that this is GCW's biggest show of their year. This starts and ends everything for them, and they absolutely show up and show out.
Awesome. Well, that's gonna be a hell of a night tomorrow night.
Yep.
Having to you get a an old channel switching, get back to our old channel switching like we used to do back in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Actually, one more quick point on this, just because Ezra put it in the chat. Yes, hearing the crowd sing "Zombies for Violence is Forever" is only trumped, no pun intended, by an entire testosterone-filled, absolutely bloodthirsty
Let me
crowd.
guess.
What?
Singing Effie's song, man. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road.
Yes,
I know it.
at the top of their lungs. It is the greatest thing you will ever hear.
That, bro. There's nothing like that,
Because wrestling is gay as fuck, and Effie is fine. But it's absolutely a beautiful thing to see.
It is, and it's a great song.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
He might go and he might turn it into a funeral for a friend if he beats Ali.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So tune in for GCW, and also tune in for TNA Genesis, because we got Genesis happening at the same time tomorrow night.
You mean this?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read through the card, little, going from the bottom up.
Can you see this one yet? Mother.
Hey, I had to pull it up on my phone so I could see it just fine. Thank you. So we've got Frankie Kazarian versus Leon Slater, which is the pre-show match. And we have
Frankie is my
But-
cigar buddy, man. Frankie is my
Yeah.
cigar buddy, man. I bring him cigars every time he comes out to BTW, man. That's a cigar
nice.
buddy right there, Frankie
There you
Kazarian.
go.
Nice. He's a big Metallica fan as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've always liked Frankie Kazarian. And he always had that Metallica kind of a Metallica, the way his lettering was on his gear or whatever. It always had that the K on his name was like a Metallica style. So it's pretty cool.
And currently, Frankie Kazarian is the greatest Elvis impersonator that we never knew we needed. But now that we have him, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it.
We also have Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards versus Eric Young and Steve Macklin. I've seen that being hyped up pretty well on TNA. Seems like it would be that actually would be a good match to open the show with.
And they've been brewing quite the feud for those who are tuning into weekly TNA programming, either via the app or on Access TV. They have been building one hell of a feud between them four. Side note, at the WrestlePro show I was at last night, Brian Myers was on the card and was wrestling. And before the show, they of course had their meet and greet period and stuff, and I actually had a chance to talk to Brian for a few minutes. He was nice enough to give me some time. And I'm like, you got wrestling tonight? He goes, yeah, well, I'm like, you got wrestling tomorrow night or Sunday night too? He's like, yeah, I ain't doing nothing Saturday. I got to stay home and rest up and then fly out for the show. I'm like, dude,
Steve.
I said, Steve Macklin and Eric Young. He goes, yeah, we'll beat him. I'm like, you sure about that? Yeah, I think so. Okay. But,
Johnny boy, I think you need to listen to your daughter right here, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you.
If there was
Hey, we
ever
talked
a
about
doubt,
Yeah, we talked about that. Surprise appearances coming to the Rumble, but anger management on the chat there says, anyone think there might be some NXT surprise appearances at Genesis? What about that?
sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think? Do we have any idea? Any?
Well, we talked about it briefly before. If they're going to really, put a stamp on this new partnership that they announced, if they went through the trouble of doing all that and making it official, why wouldn't we see, or at least have the possibility of,
someone coming in and messing up with the the Nick Nemeth Joe Hendry match? I think maybe.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, as we've been all experiencing and loving, especially with wrestling, anything is possible now.
Yeah.
So, I think if they're going to make a kind of a splash like that, it's going to be a big one. Could we see a championship or championship holders? Maybe. I mean, it really, we could probably spend a couple hours trying to figure out who exactly we're going to see, but it's really the possibility of anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know Roxanne Perez is she's kind of feuding a little bit with Bailey,
right?
But I wouldn't mind seeing Roxanne Perez show up. And
we kind of had maybe a foreshadowing thing on NXT Tuesday night with one Cora Jade getting side-eyed and commenty and lippy with TNA champion, Knockouts champion Masha Slamovich, who was in the crowd. So, could be.
Well, Cora's gonna find out if she fucks around.
Well, that's very true. That's very true. But all right, continue the rundown.
She might get a little color, if you will.
We have the match that they are hyping very much. Jordan Grace versus Tessa Blanchard.
Oof.
They ended TNA Thursday night with that beatdown when Tessa signed that contract, and then Jordan just snatched her, and it was a pull apart at the end of Impact the other night. So I'm looking forward to seeing that match. That's gonna be a great match, and that's Tessa's first match back, isn't it?
In TNA, yes.
Yes, TNA, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe we can get some redemption, and maybe we can get one of this match might steal the show. I mean, who knows? But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
So go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say it's they've done a very good job of developing the story without getting the outside elements of the story involved. They haven't really gone into any of Tessa's past, so to speak, or anything like that, or and I think it's one of these things that, much like we've seen in the past, is there some realism behind it between Jordan and Tessa? Maybe, probably, but they're both professional enough to know we might not like each other, but we're going to make a shitload of money and buzz by working with each other. And that's what we're saying. And besides the fact that we're going to see an absolutely fantastic match. Tessa, for all her faults or whatever you're thinking of, one thing you cannot deny is in the ring, that woman is absolutely fantastic and has been at a very high level for a long time. So this is not just some sort of hyped up squash or anything like that. This is going to be a battle. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. Also, we have the I Quit match, Josh Alexander versus Mike Santana. And they are brewing that matchup pretty good. I mean, they just announced it was an I Quit like just Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's gonna be a great match as well. Santana, I'll admit I haven't been watching TNA every week, but Santana's definitely got some steam behind him. And I'm glad that he's doing great things in TNA. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. So yeah.
It's going to be a fantastic match. And Hijacker, you've had Santana out with you guys on the West Coast for a time or two. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And you're probably the better one. I think this version of Mike Santana we're seeing right now, this kind of real, actual person, is the best version we've seen in a long time. And you know him and have worked with him. What's your opinion?
I like to see it. I like to see him bring, how would you say, a different side of the story from what we've seen in the past. I haven't really looked at the card, so I can't really tell you much about his opponent, who he's going up against, because I haven't checked out TNA and I haven't been able to check out much of their product lately due to my heavy work schedule and stuff. And I'm usually working in the lounge, because it still comes on Thursday nights, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm usually in the lounge, and then if I do get a chance to pick up on it over the weekend, I will. But honestly, it should be a good match. Like I said, I'm not familiar with his opponent.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Josh Alexander's a heavy hitter in TNA.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a former world heavyweight champion.
Longest
reigning world heavyweight champion.
TNA champion, the walking weapon.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you go by what IWC says, which I don't usually, but there's been enough for me to kind of take interest in it. Are we seeing Josh Alexander for the last time in TNA? There's been no talk. His contract, I believe, is up in the end of January, and there's been no real talk about what his next step is. He going to resign? Is he going to move on? The only thing that tells me something is on the horizon is he had a bunch of indie bookings through December and January, and they were all abruptly canceled. So I guess, coming out of Genesis again, stay tuned. But it's going to be a fantastic match regardless. And just the point that there are no bad matches at TNA. None of these like, oh God, or I should say
filler. There's no filler.
Or predictable, and which we all hate when you look at a few people. Oh God, there's no way this person's going to win over this person. So, but there's none of that in TNA. These are all matches. You look at every single match on this card, and I'm like, okay, I got no clear-cut winner here. Mike Santana absolutely can beat Josh Alexander. And make him, and because Santana is that just brawling type of guy that will beat you till you hurt so bad that you say I quit. And the same thing for Josh Alexander. I mean, he's a Canuckian, but it still doesn't mean he's tough. And and he's been in some absolutely brutal matches in TNA. So this is going to be truly a battle of wills, and who says it first. So
right. Another match we've got tomorrow is the X Division Championship. Moose versus Ace Austin. Deb's favorite wrestler, Ace Austin. That is of course, I've missed some of the story with Moose, but to see Moose with that X Division Championship is kind of weird to me, but here we are. So we get that for an X Division Championship, which I'm predicting that we're going to see a new X Division champion tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
well, to give you and everybody else some context, way back in the old Impact, and I'm going back probably 10 or so years, they had a similar situation with Samoa Joe. Now, the X Division is quote unquote for your cruiserweight, your lighter weight guys. And they actually had a weight limit of 215 pounds. And Samoa Joe finagled that rule in order to be in a match to become the X Division champion. So it's kind of cool that they called back to that and making Moose as a champion. Now, I like the match. I'm sorry. And call me crazy or whatever, but if they're not doing an Ultimate X Championship type match for every X Division Championship match, they're missing out. And for those who don't know Ultimate X is, they take a big giant X and hang it over the ring, suspended by two cables that are crossing the ring. And the only way to get the thing is you have to basically climb out one of the ropes above the ring and grab the X and then hold on to it and hit the mat. And it has produced some of the most awesome, like, holy shit matches that you will ever see. Just Google Ultimate X on YouTube and watch some of the past ones. They are absolutely incredible. And again, tying it back to another thing, as mentioned earlier, I saw and talked to friend and favorite of the Nation's Corner and the show, Lady Frost, who competed in the first ever women's Ultimate X Championship. And that was an absolutely fantastic match.
Yes, it was.
Check them out. And absolutely, but regardless, again, TNA, what makes them different is they know they don't have the money or the presence of an AEW, of a WWE. They know what they want to do and how they want to do it and what they're able to do, and they do it absolutely very well. And this is no different. You look at Moose, is a monster. This is a big, strong, powerful man, and has been an absolute presence in TNA since he started there. Against Ace Austin, you're quintessential, very athletic, high flying, lots of offense, lots of action. You get out of breath watching Ace Austin wrestle.
Especially Deb. Yep.
That's for another reason.
He's gonna put her on the spot.
Deb
Tony.
gets out of breath for Ace Austin like I get out of breath watching Gia Miller, who's his wife, so I guess it's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
but
yeah. Go ahead.
But again, it's good to be, and this is truly one of styles make fights. And again, it's very easy to say, "Oh, Moose is going to, light this guy up," but Ace Austin is really, really good, and I can see him becoming and new again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why not? His long-time tag team partner Chris Bay, and still best wishes for him on the speedy recovery and get well after his incident in the ring. Without Chris Bay, they haven't had much for Ace Austin. They were always, a tag team and always build together. So to have an opportunity for Ace to become a champion again, because he has been an X Division champion, but it kind of gives him something to do because he's really, really good. He's good on the mic. He's great in the ring. And it's one of them things you look at and say, yeah, he could actually out finesse and, pardon the pun, out finesse and beat Moose.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's a fantastic match on paper, and I think in real time it's going to be as well.
Yeah. Good analysis on that, John. Next match we have is for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Jody Threat and Danny Luna versus Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. I made the comment last night. Ash by Elegance, ever since she's came to TNA, I've actually seen her shine brighter than when she actually did in the WWE. She, we saw a little bit of her, a little bit of her character when she was the 24/7 champion. Then she went to NXT and did some stuff, and she was good in NXT. But now that she's moved to TNA, I think she's just on another level. And I really enjoy seeing her character work on TNA, especially what I saw Thursday night with that annoying guy. I don't even know his name. The annoying guy that had
the concierge.
Yes.
That guy.
I hope he gets his ass kicked tomorrow. By the way, just saying.
His name is Who Gives a Fuck.
But he came out with the cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, his name is fucking annoying.
Yeah. So I think I'm not, it's gonna be an entertaining match. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I'm really enjoying Ash's character on TNA right now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I want to kind of get through because we've got a couple more matches to announce. And I have a prediction about this next one here. I said it last night on Zoom with our Zoom folk. But we have the TNA World Tag Team Championship. The Hardy Boys versus Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. I think we're going to get the retain from the Hardys. But I noticed Thursday night, and y'all filled me in and said that the number 23 has been showing up on the screen for a few weeks now. And it showed up right before the Hardys came out. So in my mind, it's a tag team they're talking about with the 23. So I did a little research, and there's only one tag team that I can think of that is considered 23-time World Tag Team Champions. And that would be the Dudley Boys, Team 3D. I don't know what Devon can do, but that's what I'm thinking is that the 23 is referring to Team 3D. What say you guys?
I would have said no, that they're angling for something else. However, rest in peace, Fink. There was a very interesting Twitter exchange between one Bully Ray and Matt Hardy. And basically, not to give word by word, but there was enough there to think that there's possibly something going on. Now, do they do it at Genesis? Maybe. It would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely at least planting the seeds of something's going to happen down the line.
Yeah, what you talking about, John, was Matt Hardy posted a picture of him and Jeff holding all the titles that they won over the years. Oh, not pretty bad for two kids who had a dream of being wrestlers. And then Bully posted a picture of him and Devon with their substantially more belts around over their shoulders.
Right.
Saying, hold our beers, kid.
Yeah.
So that's basically the gist of that post. Yeah. So there's something a brewing.
Yeah, most definitely. I think if we don't go with the Dudley boys, I'm thinking, and we've seen them before, and it kind of correlates to the Knockouts tag right now, is Dane Luna, who was part of a group known as Subculture, who was the tag teams that I can't remember their names right now, the individual guys, but they're evidently able to or cleared to come back to the U.S. So, and in a very crowded tag team division in TNA, again, these are former TNA tag team champions as well before they ran into injury and visa problems. So I think seeing them back, and they were over instantly. The three of them, Dane Luna and the two guys, were over instantly.
Ezra said that Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster.
That's it. I couldn't think of the second. I knew Mark Andrews, Ezra, but I couldn't think of Flash Morgan's name. Thank you. But I could see them back. Would be very, very cool, and a little jolt to the especially the tag team division. And I don't care how elegant they are. And I like Ash and Heather. I'm very, very glad for it. I was a young lady who wrestled indies out of Chicago in the Midwest for quite a while. And even I had a chance to work with here on the East Coast at some shows. She's absolutely fantastic in and out of the ring. And I'm so glad to see her on this bigger platform. And she is really good, and I'm glad to see her getting the success that she deserves. But they're not beating Spitfire. They're not beating my girls. The Wild Child and the Powerhouse, not happening. Yeah, and still.
So we have two more matches to run down. We have the Knockouts Championship. Masha Slamovich versus Rosemary in a Ravens Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. It was great to see Raven on TNA programming the other day with Rosemary having that knife to his throat when they made this match.
Yes.
I do not think, though, that Rosemary is winning this. I think Masha is going to come out on top, but it will be a great match.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And it plays into both of their wheelhouses very well.
Yes.
Not saying that they couldn't have just a traditional championship match on their own, but when you add the plunder in, both of them really seem to enjoy and thrive in those kind of matches. So it absolutely makes sense. And again, going to be very, very entertaining. We're going to have more than one holy shit chance during that match.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah. I'm going to be excited to see Masha get back to her brutal ways because we know how brutal she can be in matches. So it'll be great to see that tomorrow night. The last match is your TNA World Heavyweight Championship match. Nick Nemeth, the wanted man, versus Joe Hendry. And I am predicting that we are going to see a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Joe Hendry. Because you know what? I believe in Joe Henry.
Man, he's fire right now, so I think the people want to see him with the belt.
Yeah.
Well,
He's been all over the place. So I mean,
Mhm.
he's definitely over with the crowd. He's definitely over. He's just magic. I am not. I say that I'm predicting a new champion, but I would not argue against Nick Nemeth retaining because Nick is a great champion as well. Nick is definitely championship. I mean, ever since he took the belt, he's been carrying it very well. Making the rounds with the belt, doing all sorts of media with it. Nick is a definite great representation of TNA.
Mhm.
So it'll be a great match for sure.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think the wonky, if anything wonky happens, it's going to be because of Ryan Nemeth
Or JBL?
JBL, but JBL is the one. Like they're both blaming, like Ryan and Nick and Hendry were all blaming JBL, like saying, "Oh, this one's with JBL and that one's with JBL," and
Right.
you know. Nick
Yeah.
was saying, "Hey, I didn't see anything till afterwards," but yeah, especially since Ryan got involved last week,
Right.
this past week. So yeah, is his involvement gonna cost Nick the title, or is it gonna cost Hendry the win? That's what
Right.
we don't
That's
know.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because I have two distinct thoughts on this.
Or before you get there, John, or is it going to be an NXT talent coming in and fucking things up for whoever?
Again,
Because there are NXT talents that have a beef with Joe Hendry coming in and taking their spot.
absolutely. And I don't know if that's. I'm not saying they can't do that, but I don't think they're going to do this now because the bigger story, regardless of who it is in NXT, is Joe Hendry is now his time. Can he defeat Nick? Or can Nick say, no, I'm the man here and retain? Right, them, his brother, is absolutely a wild card wrinkle. But in my wrestler brain, I look at it one of two ways. Nick retains and sends Joe Hendry off to NXT or greener pastures with a loss, or Joe wins, shows up on NXT as the TNA champion, and then at some point they can do either some sort of title switch back to TNA, TNA talent beats him or something before Joe becomes permanently part of the WWE. I think regardless of the outcome of the match, the inevitable conclusion is we're going to be seeing Joe Hendry regularly on WWE TV at some point.
Hey, like I pointed out to we've talked about it before, privately and on the show, man. I think WWE is looking at TNA as the new Ring of Honor for them, like a new breeding ground of some place where they know people are maybe not learning the WWE way of things, because we know that there's a WWE way of learning things when you get into that promotion, but it's a breeding ground for the future. Just look at all the Ring of Honor talent, alumni that we have in littering WWE all over the place. Right. And it's a good thing. And that's what they need. And I like that they're doing the ID program and that they're extending a hand and breaking that, for lack of a better term, that fourth wall or that forbidden door with other promotions. And I think they're going to go forward and do that with like Japan and Stardom too,
Yeah.
And
well,
which,
we know
which they obviously are, because and obviously they're going to have a relationship with with Mexico, with the Caribbean wrestling,
Right. You know,
and
there's
it's a great thing.
Yeah, because there's plenty of quote unquote handshake agreements so far we've seen. Marigold, the other Joshi promotion in Japan.
Yep.
That's where Julia came from.
Yeah. Stephanie Vaquer came from what was it? Is that
CMLL? But
that's Conan? Is that Conan's?
No, I
Or
believe
is that's Conan is AAA. Yeah, okay.
I believe.
Okay.
But and also you had that one young guy from Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan.
Yes.
That's in NXT right now.
Yep.
I'm terrible with Japanese names, so I'm not going to try to remember. But
Neil knows.
It's absolutely safe to say that as
Ezra
we
does
move into the Paul Levesque era, the bubble that existed both ways is absolutely burst. Everything is wide open.
Like I said, that bubble was only in Vince McMahon's head.
Right. And
that bubble only existed with Vince,
Yes.
And
nobody
behind Vince's back, everyone else talked about the other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it wrestling. They didn't,
Yeah.
And they watched it.
Yes.
Except for Nick Nemeth, who was famously known for not watching professional wrestling.
Well,
I love when Elder or when Mongrovian started with his point, the camera came in real close.
That's how correct on location production crew, man. They know exactly how to do it.
Cameraman, zoom in.
Oh man! So tomorrow night is gonna be double duty. We have AEW Collision. We have Maximum Carnage Collision on right now. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up here and give people a chance to click on over to TNT and watch some AEW Collision.
The Fallen Angel. Speaking of former X Division champions, the Fallen Angel Christopher Daniels is getting maimed by Hangman Adam Page, who is doing a phenomenal job. Ever since he burned down Swerve's house, he's just been doing he's really in a groove of being a good, just an ass kicker. I don't even know. Was he a heel? Is he a face? He just wants to fight everybody. I don't think he picks it. I don't think he chooses anyone's side except his own.
Right.
So
anyway, we're gonna give everybody a chance to click on over and watch some AEW Collision and tune in tomorrow for GCW and TNA Genesis on Triller. Hijacker, it was great having you on tonight, man. Where can people find you on the socials?
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me back. Hopefully I get on more with you guys this year as time permits. You guys can catch me at Mr. Mac on Twitter, Hijacker Mike on Instagram, and for all you cigar aficionados, Smoke in the Bay.
Smoke and the
Follow
Bay.
that account.
Smoke
you will be smarter.
The Bay, right? The letter N, the Bay, right?
Smoke, the letter N, the THA, the Bay. Yes,
we share it all the time. Just look for it, man. Check it out, and our man there definitely gives some good cigar reviews, and he's a cigar sommelier, and he'll hook us up,
too.
man.
Smoke in the Bay, folks. Listen, I am a cigar aficionado, and I consider myself fairly knowledgeable, even if you're not. You're just a casual enjoyer of a stick once in a while. Follow Mike's account. He will make you smarter and a better fan and aficionado of cigars just following his account and watching the videos of the cigars he reviews and talks about. It's absolutely fantastic. And throw him a like, subscribe to his account, and expand your mind, because he's even turned me on to some other brands that I did not know existed. So
that's right. And if you don't join Smoke in the Bay, his buddy Will Hobbs will make you his bitch.
That's true. he does have a habit of that. But
by the way, how's Bailey doing? Because that's Bailey's home, man. That's Bailey's homegrown. Your promotion out there, and
yeah, she came from BTW. She's doing good. She was out here doing a bunch of promotions all over the Bay, even with that football team I'm not going to mention that resides out here. She was out there.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're still watching the playoffs the same place you are.
Hey,
Yeah.
Enough said.
hey, at least your football team, at least you're calling your football team because they actually have a name, but they just piss you off. John had to just call his football team for years.
That was the name. I bought
yeah.
a jersey, damn it.
The football team, yeah.
The football team.
Hey, I have a Washington Football Club jersey.
This is why we like wrestling, because all that football and all that other shit is so fake.
Well, it is, but we watch anyway.
Yeah, and while we have hijack, I'm like, fuck the A's, Yeah.
Yeah, fuck John Fisher.
Son of a bitch.
Sell the team.
Ruined my man's summer times, man.
Yeah, I got no more teams left in my city, but it's all right. We got the Oakland Ballers, man. Pioneer Baseball League. We're invested in with them. We're still going to Stockton Ports games, which still happens to be the A's minor league affiliation, but no money goes towards John Fisher's pocket with them.
There you go.
That's good.
And we always have wrestling, man, because wrestling has no season.
Wrestling is number one. That's the first thing I started watching back as a kid with my grandfather back in the early 80s was wrestling. So wrestling rules everything over baseball, football, basketball. So wrestling is where it's at.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well,
Mongrovian,
you, my brother. Hey,
how can people find you on the socials?
Mongrovian Mike, I'm right down there. You can see me there. At Mongrovian Mike, look for me. I rant, I post shit, whatever. I have fun on the socials. But I have more fun with my grandson, and I have just wanted to wish his nana, my wife, Mrs. Mongrovian, a happy birthday. Turned 61 yesterday.
Jackie, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to her. And my little boy is just growing up.
Sainthood from that woman.
Cutting teeth already. He's going to be in college soon. Who knows?
Putting up for your ass.
He's my big boy, man. And I love him. And just having fun.
Awesome. Johnny Boy, how can people find you on the socials?
As it says down there somewhere over there. At Twisted Metal Fab on the Twitter and the Instagram. And of course, you can follow the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in all of professional wrestling, who was hinted at but didn't quite make an appearance last night. But of course, I'm talking about the AK9K, aka the Ass Kicker 9K, and you can follow his exploits on Instagram at Ass Kicker 9K. And as always, hashtag Nation's Corner on location.
Yeah. And support fucking independent wrestling, man. You were there last night. Deb is there. Deb and Seth are there tonight. It's shit going on all over the place.
Hey, man. I couldn't have said it better, but honestly, folks, if you're a fan and you want to see tomorrow's stars today, they are at your local indie promotions, and it's still the best entertainment value for your buck. You're up close, you're in action, you're interactive. And like I said, you're seeing tomorrow's stars today before they make it. And that camera, it's absolutely bugging me out how they fucking keep following
Every time he does it, he goes like that. The camera goes,
it's
I'm over here. You hear? I'm over here. You hear?
I'm over here now.
I hear you.
Real quick, you can find me at Tony Justice AJFA.
Yeah, nobody cares.
If you're a Metallica fan, like I know all of us are, you know what that means. Ooh. But real quick, before we sign off, we forgot to mention our friends at Busted Open, Dave LaGreca, Mark Henry, and Tommy Dreamer are going to be doing a Countdown to Genesis show, which is affectionately known as Tonight.
No, in the beginning. Whoa. Uncle Bully says it's in the beginning, I thought.
That was my
religious types.
As long as it ain't a Taylor Swift song, I'm cool.
Right. But y'all check out our friends at Busted Open for the Countdown show tomorrow. Live on location in Dallas. I was supposed to be there with Dirty in Texas, but as you can see, I'm here in a hotel room in Minnesota, so not gonna make it.
Dirty in Texas,
Dirty's awesome, man.
Yes, he will be out.
Dirty's awesome.
Hard for the nation.
Yes, So anyway, that's the show, guys and gals. I appreciate you tuning in to Nation's Corner, and we will catch you all on the flip.
On the flip.
Ooh.